Yeah. So in today's lecture, we will talk about what is JavaScript. See, you have already you are already familiar with HTML and CSS, and that is basically used to uh, to create the web pages, right? So if you see HTML, it is not a programming language. HTML is a markup language. When we talk about the markup language, it does not have the programming component. Like if you take XML, which is the extended markup language, right? So HTML is basically used for creating the static pages. So when we are saying static pages, so what does it mean? Let me just clarify a few things before starting JavaScript, why we need it, right? And then we will move to the JavaScript history. For example, this is your system, or this is the server where you have deployed your HTML page. So HTML page deployment can be done on various web-based um, web-based lang- uh, s- languages or web-based servers. Like if you are using Windows, you can use IAS. If you are using Linux, then you can use Apache, Nginx. So there are many web servers where you can basically deploy your HTML page. Okay, so that is not a big deal. So consider this is one of your web server or maybe your system, right? So when we talk about server, right, whenever you are developing your HTML page, you're developing on your machine, but ultimately it will be somewhere on the server. So that server should have the web server installed, right? So some of the web server name that you need to know actually for Windows, we use IAS, and for Linux, there are many. So there is, it depends upon which, which programming language you are integrating the HTML. So if I only talk about the HTML, so then you can use any web server. Like you can use Tomcat. Tomcat is basically used for the Java-based application, right? You can use Apache. Apache is also one of the web server, right? And there is Nginx, right? Like that, many. So consider you are having one of this. Uh, you are having one of this web server, and you want to deploy your application on it, and that is static application, which is HTML. So when we say static HTML, what does it means? See, consider this is your server where you are having a browser, right? So here you are having, say, Chrome browser. Okay. Now in this browser, so I will just mention it with some box so that it will be a, so it will be a browser, right? In the address bar, what do? You are basically writing the some web address, like you are saying google.com, right? So this is my browser, and in browser I'm writing google.com. No? Right? Now there will be a web server, right? So this is a web server. There may be many, but consider there is one web server where google.com is deployed. So google.com is what? It is a domain name. Okay. So what is domain name? Domain name is basically a meaningful name for your IP address. See, whenever you are connecting to this particular server, which is a Google server, consider this is a Google server, right? So this is Google server. And here, google.com index.html pages, index.html pages deployed. Okay. So there will be one web server. We don't know which web server. Okay. This can be anything, right? So there is a web server, and your application is deployed over here. Okay. I will show you how you can deploy it later, but consider this is the case. Now, when you say, let me connect to, means on this machine, this is your laptop. Okay. This is your laptop, and you want to search google.com, right? So when you type google.com, so there are so many network related things happens, but ultimately you will reach to this particular server. And in this server, you are having one HTML page. Now, this HTML page you are requesting, and that response comes to your browser. Okay. So whenever we are talking about the web-based protocol, so there are HTTP and HTTPS. Okay. So if it is with the certificate, then it is HTTPS. And if it is without encryption, then it is HTTP. Okay. So now this page will come to your machine, and here your browser basically render that page. Render that page means, because whenever you are requesting, it is not sending you the web page, it is sending you a program, a script, right? And that script is nothing but HTML script. As you can say script, or as we basically call it as HTTP response. So we are getting the HTTP response, right? So when you are getting HTTP response, this HTTP response is getting rendered on your browser. So your browser has a capability to convert that HTTP response to to your web page. Okay, so you see a beautiful web page, and that web page is basically coming because when you say google.com, you enter, it goes to the google.com page, and when it come back with some snippet of code. Okay, what is the response when you are accessing it, right? Now this page is on your machine, right? So this HTML page is on your machine. Now you are searching something, right, in the google.com. So you are basically uh, okay. Now when that web page is showing on your machine, so this works on a stateless. So there is something called stateless. Okay, so your web pages are stateless. What is the meaning of stateless? See, when this page is coming to your machine, now you are not connected to the google.com server. Okay, so page is on your machine, and at that time I'm disconnected from the google.com server. When I will be connected, when I will be connected again, when I do a searching again, if I say I want to search what is JavaScript, press enter, then my request will again go to the server, and I will get the response again. It will be shown on my browser, right? So that is, so this is stateless. You understood, right? Stateful means if it is always connected, right? Like database. So when you are, you know, um when you are basically connecting your application to database, so there is a stateful connection you are creating, so that you can insert the data, delete the data, do those kind of operation into the database. So that is stateful, but this is stateless. So uh, when the page comes to your machine, it is stateless. Now if you want to search something, then you need to go to this web server again, right? Then you need to go to that web server, because on your machine it does not have any. Now, let us take one use case. Consider you are having one page, and in that page, you need to enter the username, right? So, you need to enter the username and password. Right? This thing you need to enter, right? So, there is a web page, you need to enter username and password. And when you click on the submit button, right? So, you are basically connecting to this server, and it is checking whether your username and password uh, is correct or not. Right? So this is what we want to do. Now, if you want to do this, then there are some validations are checked. See, what are the validations? Validation is, for example, your username should not be blank. Your password should not be blank. These are the basic thing, because Google says, I'm taking example. It is I don't know whether it says or not, but I'm taking one example. So Google says that the username should not be empty. So in that case, if you enter blank username or password, you click on submit. When you click on submit, it is going to the server. Okay, so it is going to the server. So if you say that, see, this kind of thing should be checked on my machine itself, because when it is going to the server, there will be a latency, right? You need to go server, get the response. It will be milliseconds, or maybe it depends upon, right, how is our internet connectivity. I don't want to do that. I want everything is to be checked on my local browser, on my browser, right? That browser can be, tell me some browser names. Chrome, Firefox, Edge, but earlier it was known as Internet Explorer, Opera, right? So these are the browser. So you want that your browser should check. No, it means browser should have something inside it, so that then it will check. So, so I will come to that. That is called the JavaScript engine. It basically it has. Okay. So now your browser, if that validation is done on your browser level, it is called client-side scripting. Okay. So everything which is basically happened on your uh, browser side, that is called client-side scripting. And if your request goes to the server, like you are searching something, it searches to some database or somewhere, that is called server-side scripting. So if the request goes to the server, right? So like your username, password is valid or not, it will be checked into the web server level. So that is called the server-side scripting. I hope this understood, right? You understood what. Now, can you give some example of server-side scripting? In what cases? Google.com, when we enter something, right? So it will go to the servers and it will basically returns the response. It do Yahoo, right? So all this. So we are going there now. So now here browser, if if everything is checked without going to the server, this is called client-side scripting, and there are many examples. Okay, so best example is JavaScript. JavaScript is a client-side scripting. It means whenever you are using the JavaScript, you are not connecting to the server. So this is not a server-side scripting. Got it? Now, there are so many cases. I'll give you one example. For example, you want to do a calculation. Create a calculator in what? In server side or client side? Client side. So we need JavaScript. So for example, you need to check this username is blank or password is blank, or maybe it should be more than 8 characters or something. It should have some special characters, numbers, greater means capital letters and small letters. So those things no need to go to the server, right? It saves the time, right? So that is why JavaScript is the one which help us. There is one more. There are many actually. Um, there is VB script also there. Okay, so that was initial time, but now mostly we are using JavaScript. There is also one known as JScript from Microsoft. VB script is also from Microsoft and JScript, right? So this is the example of the client-side scripting languages. The one which we are going to use, it is JavaScript. There are many frameworks when you go to the full stack development, right? So you see there are many frameworks like Angular, React.js, JS, JavaScript. JS means JavaScript. TypeScript is JavaScript. jQuery, all are JavaScript related framework. The base is JavaScript. So we are going to start our this journey, which is for the JavaScript. Once you have a complete hold, so JavaScript is really awesome. So here what you can see that we can write a object-oriented programming also. So it will be very wonderful journey for JavaScript. Maybe in couple of lectures you will see the power of JavaScript. All right. So shall I ask some questions? So for example, if I enter a username and password, right? And that username password is to be checked on my web server. Will that be done by the JavaScript? Yes or no? Correct. So it should be checked on the server side. Means in the server side scripting, you can say some examples like Java is a server side script because we are uh, we are writing a program in Java, right? JavaScript and Java both are different. Okay, don't be confused with this because Java is a uh, separate and JavaScript is client side. Okay, so Java is not used for the client side. So Java is also developed by initially, it was Sun Microsystem. And JavaScript is also originated from uh, the Sun Microsystem only. Okay, we will discuss about that in the history. .NET. So Java is a server-side scripting, but we integrate JavaScript. See, HTML. HTML is not Java. HTML is not JavaScript, right? No, HTML is not Java, but we are using JSP, Java server pages. There we are using HTML. So it means Java integrated with HTML is integrated with Java. Same way, JavaScript is also we can integrate. If you need to create a static web pages where you need not to, connect to the server again and again. It's a simple page, right? HTML page. So there you can use JavaScript because that is also not going to the server, web servers. Right? So this is a base that why we are learning .NET, Python. So these all are the server-side scripting, Ruby and Rails, right? So, so now let us move to the history of JavaScript. So JavaScript history. Initial days, web was created by the Netscape, which is Sun Microsystem. Now it is Oracle. Okay, Java is now Oracle. It's under Oracle only. Okay. For Netscape Mozilla browser implementation. So what they have done, they have just uh, Netscape was created, and there was a browser which is Mozilla browser. Now, because of some trademark issue, ECMA. ECMA is what European Computer Manufacturers Association has given the name as ECMAScript. So every JavaScript is also following a standard. See, whenever there is a programming language, whether it is client side, server side, for custom application, right? So everything is everyone has to follow the standard, some standard. So JavaScript is following the standard of ECMAScript. Tomorrow, if I create some client-side scripting, so I need to follow the standard of ECMAScript. Okay. So ECMAScript 6 is the latest one. Okay. Before that, ECMAScript 5, 4. There are different time to time, different depends. Now, for example, you get some update your browser. Okay. So when it updates, so this ECMAScript or your that JavaScript engine is integrated into your browser. When you update, so that also get updated. Maybe it's not 100%, but you know, chances are that also get updated. Microsoft also created the JScript. So like Microsoft always do a competition, right? It wants like AWS is there, then Azure is created, right? Java was there, C Sharp was created, right? So Microsoft is always, in a competition, tough competitor. So they have created similar to that client-side scripting, and they named it JScript. In practice, JavaScript we call JS. Like Angular JS is now old, but React JS, right? So that is JS means JavaScript. Wherever you see JS, it's a JavaScript. JavaScript ECMAScript 6, also known as ECMAScript 2015 or ECMAScript 6, is the newer version of the JavaScript which was introduced in 2015. So still it is ECMAScript 6 only as at present day, right? So this is now you can see that it is a very powerful this framework, right, for our client-side scripting. So JavaScript is following this ECMAScript 6 standards only. V8 is the name of the JavaScript engine that powers the Google Chrome. In Google Chrome, the name of that JavaScript engine is known as V8. It's JavaScript only, but they named it V8. Chakra is a free and open source JavaScript engine developed by Microsoft and from its Microsoft Edge legacy browser. So it is a fork of the same named JScript engine used in the Internet Explorer. So now see, Chrome is also using JavaScript, but they just give a different name. Okay, just to to tell that this is our product, right? And they have developed, but they follow the which framework? ECMAScript 6. Right? Now, JavaScript is a high-level dynamic client programming language of the web. Okay, understood? It is not used for the desktop kind of application. It is well suited for object oriented function programming style. So we can create functions, we can create like in C++, you have seen object oriented language, right? So here we can also create the object oriented programming. Okay. So up till here, this point is clear. Yeah. Okay. So now we will see that how JavaScript basically works in your browser. So what happens? You write the code in HTML and integrate the JavaScript code into that, right? So as I had given you the example, username, password, it should not be empty. Such kind of things, you are identifying the element and then you are applying the validation on top of that, or maybe you want to perform certain action. So in HTML page, what we are basically doing, we are adding a script tag. Okay, so script. Uh, Now that by default the type language is JavaScript, but it is a good idea to add a script tag, okay, with type equal language equals to JavaScript. Okay. So let me just show you in the Visual Studio. Let me open the Visual Studio quickly. So what I'll do, I'll just create one file here and I will name it as index.html page. Okay. So here, what I will do, I will say, uh, you know, I will use this by default HTML uh, document. And here you see there is no tag for JavaScript. So what I will do, I will put the script tag. Right? So script is the one which is basically which we are using for the JavaScript. But you can mention the JavaScript also here to explicitly saying that this is a JavaScript, script tag. Okay. Right. So here, if you write script, it is JavaScript by default. But if you want to explicitly mention that, then you need to write type equals to and text slash JavaScript. That also you can write, but it is not required now. In the latest, all the browsers, they are already know that this is a JavaScript if something is written in the script tag, right? Now, for example, so I'm removing this, not required. Right? So in this script tag, you can write the code. Whatever the code you want to write, you can write it. So when we, proceed with this, we will identify the element first. So for example, you want to write the code when I click on the submit button. So in that case, I need to tell, right, this function or this script should be executed the when we are basically clicking on that submit button, right? So I will take you into a browser, right? So let me go to this browser. Here also, for example, this is the web page only. If I right click and if I inspect, right, it will open this HTML elements, right? Here you can see console, right? Here also you can write the HTML code. For example, if I say I is equal to 10. So what I have done, I have created one variable, I variable, and it has value 10. And you can say console dot log. And if I say I want to print I, right? See, 10. So here also you can write the JavaScript code. And it depends, right? When we are inspecting something, then we can directly run the code into this console. Okay. Or first, initially we need to write it into our code only. Okay. So, so say an example, this is our HTML page, right? Now here, if I say uh, console, console dot log, and if I say this is my first uh, program in JavaScript, or I'll say JS capital, semicolon. So it means this code is written in the JavaScript. Let me save this, and I hope I have, or we will open this particular. I have not installed, or there is a code. Okay, so we can see it here. So here you don't see the output because we have used the console.log. Now I will go to the inspect. Right? I will go to the console. And here, okay, it has failed to load something. But here you can see this is my first program in JS. Okay, so this is live reload enabled. So some other problem. But here you can see my JavaScript output is here. So if you are debugging your code and some problem in JavaScript code, you can come over here and you can see is there any error related to JavaScript. Okay, forget about this error for now. Okay, but this you can see I can see my program how when because I did not write any function or anything, so that's why it is basically directly going to this particular Java script console.log and it has executed. Now let me go back to my GitHub repository. So HTML page and we are having the script tag, right? The browser sends the JavaScript code to JavaScript engine to execute, and engine interprets or compile the code into machine code, and then it runs it. Okay, ultimately your machine has to execute the code, so your code is to be converted into the machine. Compile will compile, create into the bytecode, and the interpreter will execute line by line. Okay, it is a single threaded application. Now, some browser JavaScript engines. So we have already discussed Chrome. This Firefox is SpiderMonkey. Safari, it is JavaScript Core or Nitro. And Edge, Chakra, which was old, now it is also known as V8, which is the Chromium based, right? Chrome based. Now, engine. So JavaScript engine consists of these parts. Parser, it will read and parse your Java code and generate the abstract syntax tree. Okay, so it will create a AST because it is parsing, it is checking syntax and everything is fine. Interpreter, it quickly runs your code line by line, right? And compiler, it will compile your code into the machine code. Okay, and garbage collector, it will remove the unused variable or object once that function get executed or JavaScript code get executed. Now, JavaScript is a single-threaded application, right? So single-threaded means at a time only one work it will do, not multiple work. So JavaScript runs on a single-threaded, meaning that processes one operation at a time, but it feels asynchronous thanks to the event loop system. So it is a single threaded, but you can do one thing asynchronously. So there are two things which is called synchronous and second is called asynchronous. Synchronous means step by step. For example, I have point 1, point 2, point 3. So all are executed in the sequence. So that is called synchronous. But if I say execute one and second put it into a background process, so that is asynchronous. In the background, whatever is running, that is called asynchronous and immediate, like in the thread, right? It jumps to the next until the other thread is running in the other path, right? So so here event loop we can use for using the asynchronous process. So it is having call stack. It executes the function in order. If one function calls another, it added into the top of the stack, right? So what it is doing, call stack, which is using the LIFO method, last in first out. So it is basically putting one function on top of another. But if you are calling some other function which is within the same function, then it will put it on the top. It will execute that one first. Then it will go to the next state. Web API, it is provided by the browser, not the JavaScript. Okay. So Web API is not a JavaScript part. Okay. And they handle timer, data model objects, AJAX call. So this we will discuss. DOM is the means document object model. For example, you have created a div. Under div, you have created one more div. Under that, you have created one frame. So all these are basically how to reach to a particular button. For example, you need to reach to a submit button. You need to walk through all these structure. So that is DOM. Ajax is basically this is asynchronous JavaScript. Basically, what it is. Uh, for example, you have loaded when you are loading a page, right? So until unless entire page is parsed or loaded, you cannot see it on the browser. But you say, okay, one portion will take time, so let other portion of the web page is to be displayed, and other will be doing some job separately. Okay, so that is called the Ajax. But Ajax is a very vast topic. I'm just giving in a very short description of this Ajax. Okay, so web API. Now it is handling the DOM events and the Ajax event. Callback queue or the task queue. What it is doing, it is basically storing the asynchronous. So whatever you had given to for the asynchronous, so that is basically some keywords we are using in JavaScript like set timeout, fetch. So these are basically added into the stack, and um, this will be actually executed separately when the stack is clear. Means all the operations get executed, then this particular callback queue will be executed, whatever we have given to it. Event loop, it constantly check that call stack is empty and pushes the queue task to on it. So once stack is empty, then whatever is in the callback queue, so it will be given to the stack. Let's take one example. Here you can see this is my log one, right? So what it will do, it will print one. It now set timeout. So this is for call stack queue, right? Callback queue, sorry, callback queue. So what it will do, it will give it to the it will give as a asynchronous process, and then it will execute this. And once this statement is executed, then stack is empty. Then this second part will be executed. Let's try that. So I will copy this. You can just click on this, and we'll go to our browser here, right? We will go to the inspect, right? And I will go to the console. Uh, Let me clear this. Uh, right. Okay, okay. So there is a clear statement which is here. I think this is the one. Yeah. So now what I'm doing, I'm just pasting that code. Paste option is not here. Now see, one, then three, then two. Understood why it is executed two first, three first, right? Because it is moved into the stack, right? So, right. So this is the out. So we have discussed all this concept. Now you can just go through this visual diagram, right? So this is your code. It will be first parsed, right, with the AST, and then interpreter and compiler comes into the picture that converts your code into bytecode or machine code, and then your call stack, it will just executing. And if there is an event loop, then event loop is basically taking that task and put it into the callback queue, right? And API will get executed, browser will execute it, and at the end, your uh, once your stack is empty, that queue part will be executed. All right. So I think we can end up our lecture here, right? And tomorrow we will start practically 100% practical on the JavaScript.